Hello, I'm Jackie Ware.
Hey, I am Ricardo Gamez.
I'm Zayna Tankoh.
Chris Cheatham.
I'm Kristy Dale.
And you're watching On Air with Jackie Ware. Welcome back to On Air with Jackie Ware. On today's episode, our guests represent different sides of the business, from on-site property management to accounting and corporate support. And they bring the kind of perspective that only comes from years of serving residents, supporting teams, and keeping communities moving. Today, we're talking about the real work behind multifamily, the trust it takes to do it well, and the people who make this industry stronger. Let's get into it. All right, so we're going to take ourselves back to move ourselves forward. Chris, we're going to start with you. You've each seen multifamily change over the last 10 to 15 years. What has changed the most and what has stayed the same?
What I can say is that I definitely have seen change the most in the last 15 years and is continuing to evolve is the clients that we serve. Their expectations has grown. Their staff has grown. When I first started here 15 years ago, I only had one or two people that I had to work with at the ownership level. Sometimes it was just the owner, the actual owner, and maybe it was the owner and an asset manager. No more. 15 years later, I've got an owner, I got an asset manager, I've got a corporate controller, I have all these different people that I have to associate with. And it can occasionally, you kind of have to build these templates of people so that you know who that you're reaching out to. So the staff at the ownership level has definitely changed over the last 15 years, and their expectations and their needs has changed quite substantially too. What has remained the same, and I can only speak for Pegasus, is how much Pegasus has created a home and a family for the people who work here. I know our slogan is we help people find home, and I know that just is for the communities that we manage. But for me, I'm not out there. I'm here, and this is my home. And I feel that Pegasus has created a home for me, and I believe that Pegasus has created a home for all these employees that we have too. And that intent of the company is just so natural, and it has stayed consistent the whole time that I've been here. I've been here 15 years, and you haven't run me off yet. So the day's not over, but I do feel like this is home. This is my family. I'm going to look out for everyone here. So,
I love that.
yeah.
Well, same.
Pegasus wouldn't be the same without you, Chris, or any of you here on this panel. So I'm so appreciative of your time today.
Thank you.
Zayna, I'm going to shoot it over to you. Same thing. How have you seen multifamily change over the last several years, and what has stayed the same?
What has changed over the last several years is technology, the way it impacts our day to day. I think we are getting a lot more time back on site, from going from being package concierge for residents to now we have all these different systems and tools to help us to be able to manage that for the residents. And we're not doing it on site. And even I had a paper file that I had to look at the other day, and I was like, gosh, this has been ages since I touched a paper file I was looking for someone's security deposit that they originally paid 7 years ago. So yeah, so the technology piece is what has changed a ton. And what stayed the same is we're still leasing apartments. We're all leasing apartments still. So that is the same.
All right. So I'm going to shoot this next question over to Kristy over there. How do you balance new technology, new processes, and automation with the human side of property management?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. The main thing that we want to focus our teams on in L&D, I'm a leadership technical trainer here at Pegasus, is for our teams to not use AI or new technology as a crutch, but to really enhance the human touch, personalize that experience with each person that they encounter on at the community. So they can really just use the new technology that we have, that we've been able to grow in our industry, as something to help them focus and make time for the prospects that are on site, the residents that are there, to really humanize the experience.
Okay. All right, Ricardo, you're next. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. What is one industry trend that you are excited about and one thing you hope multifamily does not lose sight of?
Okay, the one that I signed up is I'm working with Pegasus for 15 years. More than that, I believe so. And I feel like everything is going to be changed in the process on time, especially for the position that I have now. And the things like side off is when you be like personality, attitude, and responsibility to the residents or the new residents coming through.
Yeah, I think that's important for us. We're really going to have to make sure, especially with these new technologies coming on, that we don't lose sight of that human piece and the attitude and the respect that we treat our residents with. I think you're absolutely right on that, Ricardo. All right, Kristy, back to you. When you think about the future of multifamily, what gives you confidence?
Our people, without a shadow of a doubt. We just came back from an incredible leadership conference, and just the energy, the motivation that I have, the drive that I have from seeing all these other people wanting to help people find home and that they actually have purpose in their jobs really motivates me and makes me excited for what's to come in our industry, especially here at Pegasus.
I agree. Chris, what about you? What do you think the future of multifamily looks like and what gives you confidence?
To me, I see, and I mean, you can visually see it anywhere. As I drive home every night, I see the construction of new multifamily type communities. I think that is just a direction that for this area at least, and through our country, is that more and more individuals are looking for that type of home, and I think with technology and with AI and stuff like that, you're starting to find that more people are working from home. And so whenever we went through the pandemic, we expected this craziness that we were going to have a lot of issues associated with collections and things like that. But we just really didn't see it that much. It just really didn't impact us. It didn't seem to impact us as much. So I think growth is continuing. It's happening. It's continued to happen the whole time I've been here. When I come to Pegasus, the number of communities we had fit on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper.
Yeah.
Good luck, dude.
Yeah.
Now. Good luck.
Exactly.
You know? So, yeah, I love it. I love it, the growth, and that's where I see it going.
I agree. I want to turn it over back to two of our on-site associates right now, Zayna and Ricardo. And I'll start with you, Zayna. When we talk about the resident experience, what do you think people appreciate the most?
That's a great question. I think that people appreciate the small details that we notice on site the most. Yes, we can just come in, clock in and clock out and just do our job like we normally do. But when you have those conversations and you take those moments with the residents and you get to know them, you know about their pets, you know what's going on with them, you know what's happening with family. I think that's really important. You're missing that.
I do too. What about you, Ricardo, from the maintenance side? What do you think our residents care about the most?
They care the most the way that you can see the property when they coming into, I like this place, somebody recommended, and they start over when the customer service. The customer service is the one. First of the points has to be the impression with the resident, because sometimes resident coming in and looking, oh, somebody recommended me this place, but I have this question. And main aside, when you go into the office, you don't know who is in the office. So the first impression the residents or the new customers or the new person coming for looking for home is, oh, look, main is coming, very good attitude, very personality. And they only like they smile it when you see a new resident, new customer, they change everything.
I do. I think that smile really, focus on customer service and always greeting residents with a smile makes a big difference. And I do. It's a small thing, but I do think people really appreciate it. You're definitely right about that.
It's contagious.
I work in one property, I work in one property and vendors come into the property, and I'll be in that property for probably 6 months. And I believe so for 6 months. And I see the new vendors, different properties come in to look in our apartment or a house to looking for to see how is the property looks like. And vendors say, hey, when you just open the door, I see the difference in this property and this office people has some energy, like everything confident, like everything like you have and the right move, like everybody isn't doing his job, but you feel comfortable when you go into the office, especially because sometimes the managers say, hey, good morning, how you doing? Can we help you? It's a lot of the making the change to people want to be like being around the area.
I agree that positive energy and that teamwork,
Yes.
people can really feel that difference when they step right into the leasing office. You're absolutely right about that. And you want every vendor, every resident to feel comfortable and to feel that welcome. That smile, that Ricardo smile goes a long way. So I'd like to start this with Kristy, and I'd like for each of you to answer this question. What is a moment in your career that changed the way you think about service?
Oh, I love this, Jackie. So I'll tell you one moment for me that really sticks out is whenever I first got hired on site, or actually a couple of years ago, when Kason started doing the sales core training courses. And he has this incredible acronym called HOME that we use for our Pegasus culture. And it's helpful, opportunity, motivating, and energy. And it really stuck to me. That is the way that we want to serve other people. We want to be helpful. We want to take that opportunity to see if we can meet their needs. And we want to motivate them to obviously come lease with us, but to also come work for us, come stay with us as a company, and then bringing that energy plus 10%. So really, whenever he was teaching that class and honing in on that, it helped me understand a deeper level of service.
Love that. Chris?
Oh, as far as I'll share an event, and this is a safe place, right? This is a safe place. It was at one of our conferences. I had a community manager and said, oh my goodness, you're Chris Cheatham, right? And I was like, yeah. And they go, you made me cry a couple of months ago. Oh, it destroyed me. And I was like, why did I make you cry? And it had something to do with what I had emailed them about. I feel like I'm pretty poetic with my emails.
You are a beautiful speaker.
Yeah.
Especially now that y'all have introduced Grammarly.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But that hurt. It hurt my heart because we're doing accounting. I don't want to make anybody cry over accounting.
I've cried over accounting.
And so I engaged with them. It was too late though. At that point, it was too late for me to have properly engaged with them before it got to the point where I shot that email. And I know I don't send abrasive emails, but it was because it came from me.
Yeah, the title means a lot.
Freaked out and they started crying. And so I was like, okay, how can we navigate these waters later? And so I really try to proactively establish the relationships by name with these individuals so that if I'm about to cut your petty cash off, I've already kind of had this preemptive communications and relationship with them. Hey, Chris, you can, no, please. And so I've got that rapport with them. And I didn't have anybody come up to me this year and tell me that they were crying, that I'd made them cry. As far as our ownership group, I can be their buddy or I can be an AI robot if they want me to. It's whatever they want. So yeah. I can act out however they want. So I haven't made any changes there.
Okay, a moment in my career where service really stood out for me. It was pretty early on. I was working at a community that was really hard. We would get probably 20 work orders a day. It was a really old community, and we had some help from the service support, which is what you do, Ricardo. And Bill Masterson actually is the one that came out to the community, and he had a meeting with the team, and he walked some units that were ready, and he looked at all of us and he said, when we're looking at these apartments and we're trying to get them ready and we're trying to lease them, he said, would you move your grandmother in here? And that really stood out to me. Would you move your grandmother in here? No matter what class the property is, there is something for everyone. And we just want to make sure we are giving that level of service to that potential resident and to the current residents also. So that was something that really stood out for me.
And for sectional maintenance, the prospect coming to look in a new home. And first of all, when we make it the stuff to say this unit is ready, has to be like you want to live in there because it's your house. Especially when the new resident or new person or new people come into looking for a house, the first impression they get it when they are in the front door. If the front door looking good, inside there's no question because everything has to be. We are no imperfect, but we are not 99.99% imperfect. It doesn't matter if it's a rough property or new lease up, that's gonna be like a 999.99% on the unit ready. Why? Because that is they're talking about the first impression for the person. And if you thinking or you looking the property like you want to live in there, that's the way it's supposed to be, like a look at of the property. And I'm always tell the teams where I go to work, I say, you thinking you can live in over here? That means yes and not. But with the new person or the new residents coming or new buyers coming to look in a new house, the first impression they take it on the model. And after the model, they look in the apartment they finna go to move in, and they supposed to be like no furniture in there, but it look same thing. And that's the first prospect we have to be on main side and getting like an opportunity to contact with the residents. The residents get it to his opinion for the job that you do, like inside of maintenance, because sometimes maintenance getting different issues, but if they working like a team, Pegasus making you team players.
So, what are some operational lessons that the newer multifamily professionals should learn early in their careers? I'm going to send that over to Kristy since you work with a lot of our new associates. Yeah. What would your experienced self, what do you tell them?
Yeah, one thing, especially whenever I was personally like training to get promoted from client service manager or assistant manager to property manager, one of the things that I had to learn is kindness is clarity. So being very clear on what the expectations are for my teams on site was super important and a skill set that I had to develop. One thing when it came to delegation is very important for us to understand when we're having our huddles in the mornings to tell them this is a priority. Making sure that you're being clear in your communication, I think was super important for our new client service managers or property or assistant property managers going to the property manager role is super important.
Yeah.
Agreed. All right, Zayna, this one's coming to you next. What do high-performing on-site teams do differently when things get busy, stressful, or unpredictable?
Okay, what do they do? Honestly, celebrating the small wins. I think in our industry in general, it's always going to be a stressful day. There's always going to be emergencies. There's always things that are going to come up. But it's important as leaders to communicate those small wins with the teams and highlight them and recognize them. If we have a big leasing or big move-in day, I'm going to buy coffee for my leasing team so they know I appreciate you guys. We're going to rock this day out. It's going to be crazy, but we're going to do it with grace and with positivity.
I'm going to actually keep the spotlight on you. How do you build trust with residents, your teammates, and clients when the pressure is really high? And I know you've worked at a lot. You've turned around a lot of properties for Pegasus. So what do you do?
I would say the number one thing is to over-communicate with everyone, the residents, the vendors, your team. When we have our daily huddles, like Kristy mentioned, I think it's really important for us to just over-communicate. We're going to have issues with residents. We're going to do things. We're not perfect human beings. And I think they understand that. But when we own their problems and what mistakes we might have made, when we own it and we communicate them and say, hey, we're going to fix this, that's when they fall in love with us.
I agree. All right, Chris, back to you.
Okay.
What is one misconception people have about your role or department?
That we're boring. that all we do is math. No, we really try to overcompensate for the fact that we're accountants. We really try to have a good time. And that was something that Lindy really loved, I think, about our department. Whenever she would come through there,
Yeah.
she goes, "Why is it so quiet in here? I want music. I want laughter." And as I interview new people for our department, I try to bring that to the forefront. I'm like, yes, this is in an accounting department, very unorthodox accounting department. We try to have a very good time here. We try to laugh. It's not quiet. It's not a library. We're loud. We have fun. You never know what anyone's going to say, mostly the ladies. But we just try to, and it can be a misconception, but what I hear every time whenever I go to the conference, whenever I have that new person or new community manager or even regional or VP, they come to myself or they'll come to Kurt or whoever else or Holt, and they'll be like, "Y'all are totally not what I expected from the accounting department." I'm like, "Yeah, baby, that's what we're
break the
going
mold.
for." Yeah, we don't. Yes. We have a great department. Our product that we put out is amazing and it's consistent. But when you're doing the same thing every single day, how many bank recs can you do and still keep it fun?
Yeah.
So we fill those gaps with fun as much as we can. So we keep it light. And to me, that would be the misconception. It's always been the misconception for me. I didn't get into accounting to be boring or
Sure.
not have a good time. So.
Making math fun. You make it look good and you make it fun, Kristy.
Yeah, make it fun.
Kristy, since you started in an on-site role and now you support our teams from a corporate level and you talk to almost every single one of our new hires.
I try.
What is one thing corporate teams can do better to support on-site teams?
Yeah, no, this is a great question. And this is something I try to put into my practice. One of my favorite quotes by Rob Dial is, "Make it your mission to make somebody else's day better." And whenever they come to me with a problem on site, I know that they've already tried to exhaust all of their resources. And so they're coming to me with trying to either find another resource, figure out where the resource is, or they just need on-site training. So really coming in with the intention that they need help with whatever they need right then and there. So my focus is on the on-site teams. I tell this to my teams all day long. I will always make time to teach, train, and empower you because I know that will help you complete all the things that you need for the next day.
All right, Zayna, this one's for you. What is one thing on-site teams can do better to partner with corporate support teams?
Love that question. I think that one thing that on-site teams can do better is to just communicate what's happening on site with our corporate support. For example, we had our wonderful leadership conference last week. And in the accounting department, you guys were showing some examples of things that were wrong. And that could have been anyone's property, some of those things that were happening. And I love the examples that you guys give, but I think that we should be able to communicate with you guys, with the corporate support, and just let you guys know exactly what's going on. This way you have an understanding of what's happening on site with us.
Absolutely. That communication is so key. It goes both ways, and it allows accounting to have a better understanding of some of the nuances and specifics that are happening and why it maybe doesn't make sense at the moment, and then how to help you fix it, really, in a lot of ways. Ricardo, for you, how has your view of leadership changed since you started in multifamily? Now, you've worked for, I believe, at least 11 properties for Pegasus alone. So you've seen leadership firsthand. How has your view of it changed?
The view of it changes. I see different people coming through, the technology and all the around that I am being different properties. It's different personalities on people, different communication. And if that I go through, see different people or different managers, or sometimes I have to be like with the regionals, and I get it sometimes slightly nervous, but when I started related, I get it like and point like, okay, I don't go to see what I need to do. What do you need from me to make it better in the place and the properties, or in the stage like that I go to make it my responsibilities, change it something that I can make it better for everybody on the team.
Yeah, I think that view of really being a team player and not being nervous when somebody comes to kind of set the standard is such a good perspective to have, right? How can I make it better? What can I do? So you're ahead of anything that might be coming. I think that's a great way to view leadership over the last several years, because there are different things. And with the technology, some of the leadership can now see things that they couldn't see before from afar.
Yeah.
So again, bringing in what Zayna said about having that communication and then being able to make sure that you are trying to be a tool for your leadership, I think is huge, Ricardo. I want to go the next question actually to Chris, because I know one of the things that I'm most proud of, and I believe you are too, is the tenure that we have in our accounting department here at Pegasus. So what have you learned about retaining talent in an industry where burnout and turnover can be a real challenge? You're experiencing that. There's a lot of things that we have to combat, and we still require people to come into the office a couple days a week. And really, how has your team done such a good job at retaining talent?
I think you mentioned about the burnout and been there. I've been here 15 years. Yeah. A little burnout's just sitting right there, just going, you're getting burned out. You're getting burned out. You know, it isn't fun anymore. You're burned out. But I think how we've been able to keep folks is how people just love our department. I could just speak on the accounting department. Is it hard sometimes? Is it a struggle? Is it just anxiety laden on how we're going to meet that deadline? Because we run on caffeine and deadlines. And there are times when it does get incredibly hard. But I think what people have found is the support of one another. And that is what has helped us to retain our staff. We don't have a lot of turnover at all. We don't. And we've been very blessed. Our department is blessed that we've not had a lot of turnover. Kurt mentioned yesterday, he was like, do you see how many we had celebrating anniversaries at the conference? Yeah. I think we won.
Yeah.
That was something for Kurt to be proud of. Employee 001. Yeah. That's something for him to be incredibly proud of. What I try to do myself, and people laugh about that, I love going around to folks and saying, you good? You good? I'm opening that door. Won't you tell me right now? And I know we're supposed to have these huddles for that, but sometimes that one-on-one, you good?
Yeah.
You good? You good? And I know folks who need that.
Agreed.
Tell me, you good? And they'll share. And it's okay, come on, load my wagon. Let's go. Let's do it together. And those folks out there, hopefully, they know that they can lean on each other, whether it be the person right next to them or the person down the hall, that they can reach out to somebody.
Those check-ins, and I heard this thing about leadership that I'll never forget. I really loved it, but it's that you're building a trust bank with people, and the more details and things you can understand about their lives allows those people to trust you and stay with you, and that really is meaningful and powerful to them. So those check-ins that you're doing, it seems simple, it seems like nothing. Hey, you can tell when someone's having an off day, and it usually is because they have something going on in their personal life. It's not always directly related to the burnout at work, and sometimes it's that, but sometimes it's something that you don't even have control over, and those check-ins and the knowing what's going on, you build that trust bank with people.
It's also what lends itself to we've talked about tough conversations.
Yep.
It's a very tactful way of opening the door for that tough conversation. You good? No, I'm not good. I'm way behind. I'm at the 12th hour. I got 6 more communities to do. Okay, well, let's talk about that. How could we have avoided that?
Help you.
What kind of changes could have happened, and help me help you deal? And so it's, to me too, it's a tactful way of opening that door. What can we do different next month? I'm here to help you. But there are folks who are doing everything that they can. They really are, and they're just struggling. So just checking in. You good?
Yeah, I think that's more important today than ever.
Yeah.
This next question is for Kristy, because you pretty much, your voice and who you are touches almost every leader in our organization and the role that you serve on our learning and development team. What advice would you give leaders who want to create teams where people stay, grow, and build careers?
I love this question, Jackie. I think my number one thing, and this is something that we teach in our monthly trainings that we have for our property managers, is to be intentional with our people. Chris, you made a great point. You care about your people. You ask them how they're doing. I think with us keeping the people that we have, building our benches and having them promoted forward and growing our people really starts with caring about them and hearing what they actually want and what their talents are. We might not have a straight assistant property manager to property manager trajectory. We might have somebody who's amazing at sales and they want to be on our incredible sauce team, or they're amazing at operations, but they're no longer wanting to be on site and they can move over to our centralized team. I think creating opportunities for growth with our people, being intentional, being kind, and coaching them to be what they need to be and who they are is super important for us to retain our people.
I agree. Does anybody have anything they want to add to that? That was beautifully said, Kristy. Thank you.
Yeah, way to show me up.
I will say one thing, Chris, that I do love about your department is building the relationships. I tell them all the time, our property managers, especially our new property managers that just get hired on to our community, build that relationship with your accounting team. Call them, talk to them. My rule of thumb is if it goes back and forth to emails, I'm going to Teams you. We're going to talk about it. We're going to try to make sure that we can get, Jackie, I remember you saying this a couple conferences ago, how quickly can we finalize or finish an issue up? How quickly can we figure out or resolve a problem? And so that really stuck with me. So I'm like, what is the quickest way to solve this person's problem on site? Or how can I help them solve their own problems with the resources that we have? And I think that's really impactful as well.
Zayna, I have the final question for you. What separates someone who is good at the job from someone who becomes a long-term asset to the organization?
I've been with Pegasus this is going on my 16th year. And I think what separates someone that's doing just regular doing their job, great doing their job, versus a long-term asset is someone that really shows up, and they show up for their people as well as the vendor and the residents and their team members on a regular basis. And they choose to show up on a daily basis. We all have those hard days where things are tough. But I think as long as when we walk through that door, we decide, you know what, I'm going to show up for my people today. That's the difference between someone that is just doing their job and someone that's going to be a long-term asset for the company. I have a story about my assistant manager. She comes in, and when I first started there, the residents did not want to talk to me. Okay. They only wanted her. And first I was like, this is either going to be a good thing or not a good thing. And I was like, but after just a couple of days, I saw the way she connected with people and how she shows up for her residents and shows up for her prospects. And I said, wow, this girl, she is a major asset. I could send her to any community of ours and she would make Pegasus proud. She would help anyone. And I have sent her to a couple of communities actually to help out. So she's wonderful.
Yeah, no, Zayna, I absolutely love that. And it's so empowering seeing as a leader, your team members going above and beyond, being intentional with their communities and being able to adapt to other communities. So fun story. I love our sauce team and our floating property managers who go to multiple different sites all the time. One thing that I'll share a story. When I first started with Pegasus, I was at a incredible lease up in Panama City, and I had several different support team members, sales experts or sauces come to our property, and they showed us how to go above and beyond. They would stay a little bit after to help somebody complete their application. They would show us where we could put notes in our systems to personalize the experience, just those little items to remember from other people. And honestly, how to leave a lasting impression the same way that they left one on me. They also gave us so much confidence too. I'll never forget, one walked into my office and goes, "Are you the girl that does our social media?" And I go, "Yes." And they poured so much love and dedication and appreciation into me. It made me want to grow other people to do the same. So that's one thing with me that's left me to see somebody who is good at their job versus going above and beyond, setting that high standard that we have here at Pegasus and really just leaning into their career.
Agreed. Yeah. I want to thank each of you for taking time out of your day to be on the podcast. And thank you so much for pouring so much into Pegasus, our residents, and each other. Thank you.